I am Sad, 2026 Local Vice President of JCI Quatre-Bornes. This is the 11th session of our Culture Connect 40 Voices Same Journey initiative. This initiative aims to regroup senators and board members from JCI chapters around the world so they can speak about their JCI journey. Our speaker for today is Senator Filipe Carrera. He is a JCI senator. He is the founder of JCI Portugal, an international trainer, mentor, and coach. He has worked with many organizations giving training. So since he's the founder of JCI Portugal, his journey, you could say, is very different from what the other members we've had so far. So without further ado, I'll pass over to you, Senator Filipe Carrera, so you can tell us about your journey within JCI.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sad. It's a pleasure to be again with JCI Quatre-Bornes because I was there in person like 1.5 months away. So it is a pleasure to be. Okay, to tell you a little bit of my career. So I brought some pictures that you can see here. Like you said, the first one over there, that I'm signing a document, and I'm bigger on that picture because I was bigger at that time. I'm signing the Constitution of JCI Portugal. That was back in 2004. So JCI Portugal has existed for the last 22 years. And I had the honor of being deputy president in 2005. So I went to Japan Academy. So that's all that people that you see on the stairs holding their diplomas. And it was an absolutely amazing experience. And then there is two pictures on stage that the first one is in Finland that I got the honor of getting an award as most outstanding trainer in Europe. And then down, there is another one that is in New Delhi. So I got at the World Congress the same honor the same year. And that was in 2008. And maybe because of that, I became a training commissioner for Europe. At that time, that position existed. And that was it. And I continue till phasing out in terms of age, working with JCI Portugal. And when I became a senator, I had some positions in the Senate board in Europe. And at the end, that's the last picture, the big one, where I became president of the European Senate between the years 2022 and 2023. Because Senate President is a position that you get from European conference to European conference. So I got that in European conference in 2022 in Bruges, and I turned my position and that huge chain that I'm there back in 2023 in Bucharest. So that is a bit of my JCI career. So I've been in JCI for 22 years. And actually, even tomorrow, I will go to Riga for what is called a springboard meeting of the European Association of Senators. That will be in Riga, Latvia. And I will be there as a past president. So this is a small overview of my career in JCI. Pat?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much for telling us about your career. So what I want to know is, if you had to name 3 things that you learned, 3 key learnings that you learned within JCI, what would they be?
Okay, I will tell you a story. Many years ago, when I started my career in banking. The bank where I worked gave me the possibility of doing a course, an English course. My English, I had English in school, but when you don't practice basically a language, you start to forget it. So I grabbed that opportunity because it was something that was given to every employee that wanted. So I grabbed that opportunity. And I went to this private school that we had lessons in English. And we had this professor that she decided, in order to make things more interesting, to do a kind of trivia in English. And there was, I'm good in this kind of things. And there was a question that was, what is the highest waterfall? I've never forgot this episode. What is the highest waterfall in the world? And most people started to answer Niagara Falls, Victoria Falls, Iguazu, but I knew the answer. So I was quiet, waiting, because I was like, I will let everybody, because this is something that only a nerd like me will know it. So I said, well, it is Salto del Ángel, Angel Fall in Venezuela. And the professor was like looking at the card, and he's like, and by the way, do you know how high? And I said, 900 and something meters. And she's like, I knew that because I'm a nerd. And she told me something that was interesting. She said, you are so full of useless knowledge. And I said, look, maybe one day it will be useful, because I know these kind of things. And like I was telling you, I was in this Japan Academy. And the Japan Academy is quite an experience, because you get 140 people, 70 are Japanese, and the other 70s are one person per country. And the thing that I got to is that a lot of my useless knowledge was very useful to connect with people from many different countries. Because when you know stuff about the countries of people where, of other people, you basically create a connection. And it can be a bit of geography, it can be a bit of history, it can be a bit of the language. And that really creates a kind of magical connection. So basically, that was one. You asked me for three. Let me give you another one also in the context of JCI. I was invited to be a trainer in a academy in Russia. And it was my first time in Russia, and it was really in the middle of Russia, close to a place called Ufa. So I normally describe it like it's close to the Urals when you are going towards Kazakhstan. So really, really in the middle of Russia. And I was one of the trainers, and there was an exercise that was done by other trainers that was a fire walk. And this is a picture of myself doing that fire walk. And this was for me a very interesting experience, because the fire walk is something that is very scary, because the reason the picture is mostly dark is because it's done at night. So you will see the charcoal glowing red at night, and it's really scary, because the temperature of that it's really big, high temperature. So it's complicated, and your brain is saying, do not put your naked feet on that, because you will be burned. And on the other hand, I got the technique, and the technique is that you don't run, you walk slowly and putting all the whole surface of your feet over the charcoal. What your brain is like, that is madness. So I end up doing it, and I learned something, that is, the mind really controls the body. So if you let's say tune the mind, you manage to do a huge process of change it. So for instance, to give you, that had an impact in my life, because as you can see over there, I was bigger. I had a kind of process. At some point, I decided to lose weight. So I didn't want to do surgery. So I went through diet and exercise. And in 7 months, I lost 42 kilos, only with diet and nothing, no strange pills, nothing, no starvation, nothing like that, normal thing. And many people ask me how I managed to do so. And I explain in many occasions that it's a question of the mind. So this is, when you are doing something to change yourself, you need first to convince yourself of doing that. Many times people think, I will do it, but they don't talk with themselves. So before that walk, I had to talk with myself and say, look, I got the good information about this. This is the way of doing it. I asked one of the trainer that organized this to do it first so I could see. And I saw that it is possible and how it was done. And I just did it. And that was my moment of understanding that really you need to use your mind, and your mind is a powerful tool. The third one, it is much more practical. Mind map. It was in JCI that I discovered mind map. I was so sad that I only discovered in JCI, because mind map is absolutely amazing method in order to create content, to organize your life, everything. I use it in a lot of things, okay? A lot of things in my life, I use mind mapping, and I'm always doing mind maps because it helps me organize concepts, ideas, and everything. So I'm always working with a base of a mind map. I published several books, and all my books started with a mind map. Proposals to clients, presentations, speeches, brainstorming with myself about new ideas and brainstorming with others, project management, you name it, I use it. It's really, so these are, let's say, my three big learnings. Of course, there was a lot of more things. I normally even say that in JCI, I had the opportunity to live the life of several people, because this is something that it is crazy, the experiences, the things that you are exposed. It's unbelievable. So these are my three.
Thank you so much for your wonderful answer. I agree with everything you said. I am a bit of a nerd as well, and there are many things I know. When sometimes, I'm talking to people about it, they tell me, why do you know this? Why are you telling me this? Why do you know this stuff? I just say, I saw it, I read about it, and then
you are a nerd like me.
Yes, I know. So I know, like, little things that some people would say, why do you need to know that? Why do you want to know that? I just, I see something, I read it, I remember it. It's just there, and sometimes it's a good conversation starter, as you say. It's a good way to create a connection. Sometimes you can just share something with someone if you don't know what to say, and even if they find it weird, it's always good to know something new. And yeah, I absolutely agree with you about the power of the mind. I'm someone who has meditated for a very long time, for multiple years, and when as human beings, I think that something many people, we all know, but we don't do anything about it, is that all our problems, all our suffering is just mind made. And if only we just focus on our mind instead of focusing on the external world, then all our problems can seem so trivial. And sometimes when we fix what we think, when we start seeing things positively, when we change what's inside, then what's outside slowly changes to matches the way we feel. And it's really wonderful that you've spoken about the power of the mind, because that's something I'm aligned with. And I've seen in my life how even myself, before I was much bigger. And I think for me it was in 1 year I lost 20 kilos. Yeah,
Good.
it was during university time. I mean, I'm still big, so I still have a way to go, but yeah, one thing at a time. And I think that if I could compare, the first thing that changed was internally. Before I had that weight, there was a lot of negative self-talk, like this will take too long, you can't do this. And then when I started and during the process, I could clearly see how this self-talk decreased first before the weight went, like just going to the gym, not stopping to worry about what others say. So that's a big thing. And once that decreased, going to the gym and everything was just so much easier. Once the mind was aligned, the body just followed. So thank you for your answer.
Can I
And
give you, because of what you were talking about being positive, I will give you a very, very small trick that everybody can do it daily, okay? That it is changing in everything that we say the word but by and. So it's very interesting when you do this shift, because you boost creativity, and it is almost magical. Every time that you are going to write, I agree with that, but you are putting the problem that you see. If you, let's say, I agree with that, and you are focused on the solution. It's very, very simple. Because when you need to, it's very easy to write after but it's very difficult. It's more difficult, let's say, to write after and, because that makes you think, what is the solution, and focus on the solution. And in that, you end up being a much more positive person. Sorry to interrupt.
thank you. Yeah, I think that's true. When we say but, we tend to think of it as a problem, but when we say and, it's just something we can do. So just this small reframing can change so many things, especially when communicating with others. So in your how has JCI helped you evolve in your personal life and also in your professional life? So through these 3 key learnings, you've already told us a bit about that, but just give us an overview of like the person you were before JCI and the person you've become after JCI.
Well, JCI changed my life completely. Okay, let's start for something that is my professional life. When I started with JCI, my work was mainly in my own country, Portugal, and from time to time I would go to a conference, and actually I can tell the story how I got in touch with JCI, because back in 2022, I went for the first time to the United States for a conference of training and human resources. And I did a presentation there because my paper was accepted. So it was first time as a speaker, and it was very nice. And I met some people over there. And one of them I met again the next year, but I was invited to a conference in Brazil because I was in the United States. And this person was also in the Brazilian conference in 2003. And we are in December 2003. And I'm having sandwich with two guys. One is this person from Venezuela and the other a Brazilian guy. And we are having a sandwich at the beach because the conference was in front of the beach. So we went to a place where they sold some sandwiches. And we are eating sandwiches there. And this guy from Venezuela says to me, oh, you should create JCI in Portugal. And I asked, well, what is JCI? And he explained me. And because I was a member before of IASEC, I could understand exactly how it was JCI, what was the mechanic and what was the idea behind it. So I thought, okay, I had a lot of fun in IASEC. I learned a lot in IASEC. And IASEC was, in a way, responsible for my career until that moment. So I decided, okay, I probably will do that. So, and he continued and said, look, I'm going to be world president in 2004, and this guy is international vice president also next year. And it was Fernando Sanchez Arias that was world president in 2004, and Jun Takahashi, that was his vice president, and unfortunately he already passed away some years ago. And they were the ones that let's say invited me to the organization, and so I founded in July 2004. So after that, I had the opportunity to do training. So for instance, one of the nice opportunities was this. I already talked a little bit, but this is in Russia. And this is a bit of a crazy photo because you see that everybody's well-dressed. I have a tuxedo and everything. And this is in the middle of the forest. So we were in a kind of cottage that they call yurta, that it's from Mongolian origin. And I was walking in the middle of the forest, in the middle of Russia with my tuxedo, seeing snakes and frogs jumping in front. And I was always joking that I felt a bit like James Bond that was sent to the middle of Russia in a tuxedo. And I had this academy over there. And this is one of the things of a lot of my training experiences in JCI that molded the professional that I'm now. Over here, it was the possibility of working with people that were completely different than I in terms of perspective, the world perspective and everything. And one of the crazy things is that the huge majority of this group didn't speak a word of English. So the training was done mostly through translation. So it was another type of challenge. So since then, I got used to do things with translation, and translation not simultaneous, so consecutive. So I would say something and somebody would translate. So this is something that I learned to work with diverse people, and that gave me the possibility as a professional also to work in completely different environments. And also, for me, it created sometimes situations that were extreme, okay? So I can give you an example of this. So over here, this is a picture. You see that I'm somewhere in the middle of those towels, and I think I'm that guy over there, the one on the extreme. And the thing is that this picture has a history before, has a story before. So this picture was taken in Damascus, April 2011. So over here, actually, I'm the guy that has the towel with the strips. It's a former world president, Graham Hallam. He was a world president in 2008. So actually, he was the one that gave me the most outstanding trainer in the World Congress in New Delhi. And we had an experience of doing trainings in several places, and one of them was Syria, because I was invited and I said, do you want to come along? So we do the training together, and we organized a public speaking and debating academy in April 2011. I was the year before by myself doing training over there, so I got the second invitation. And you see this picture and everybody's like joyful, having fun. And you cannot imagine what happened a few hours before. And what happened, I can explain. We were in university in the outskirts of Damascus, and we were doing the training over there. And at some point, one of my assistant trainers, a Syrian guy, comes to me during lunch break and says, can we talk? And he's normally a very joyful guy, playful, everything. And he has a very long face. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So we went to a corner. So everybody's having a sandwich and we are in the corner. And he tells me, there is shooting on the left side of the university. Okay, that might be a problem. And he says, and then something very weird started, because he says, do you want to see it? And I say, okay. So we went to the balcony of the university and we saw the fire columns, and we are hearing the shooting. It's like light weapons. And as we are there, in a few seconds, it started heavy machine guns. So really, we could hear these things. And I asked, okay, so what shall we do? And this guy turns to me and said, well, we should leave as fast as we can. We should evacuate. And I could see that the evacuation route, the exit of the university, was towards where they were shooting. So it was a bit more dangerous, in my view, to leave than to stay. I said, but we are going in the direction of the shooting. Is that wise? And he told me, no, the problem is that they will probably come over here and we will not be able to leave. And okay, so I said, okay, evacuation. So I went to Graham, that being an Irish, he told me immediately, oh, no, it's, I was in Ireland during the Troubles. I know how things are. And I said, look, in Portugal, we are not used to this kind of situation. So so let's try to take people out. And I said, look, Syrian people are absolutely amazing hosts. If we do this in a way that they will think that we are concerned, that we are worried, they will be worried because in a way we are leaders of this academy, but also as hosts, they will be worried because the guests are worried and they don't want that. So we went around and asked people to finish lunch, and they finished, and we managed to put all inside the cars. I even did this kind of last thing, that I went back to the room where everything was to check if somebody was missing or some materials, equipment was missing. So I was sure that we were all going, and our equipment also. So we entered the car. One of the organizers was driving the car. I was beside him in the front of the car, and Graham was in the back with a girl that was at the time, I don't know if she's still journalist, and I was like making jokes with her. You should be there covering the story. She was saying, the government doesn't allow us to cover the story. And we started moving the cars, and we see the guards of the university with machine guns going around like crazy. It is very cold, but they are sweating like crazy. And they did something good and something very bad. So they said they stuck their heads in each car, and we were like 30 something people, so we had like kind of 10 cars or something like that. So it was a kind of convoy of cars, and they stuck the car in each car and said in Arabic. I will say it in English because my Arabic is very close to zero. I only know a few words. And they said, you should go like this to escape the shooting. And that's okay. And the second thing was a really, really scary. And then people start to panic in each car. They say, and may God protect you. So they learned, they understood that there was a possibility that could be their last day on Earth. So I didn't understand, Graham didn't understand, so we were continuing to joke, and people told us after what they said and what was the interpretation. And we continued the training, and we did hammam in the middle of Damascus. And the next day, Damascus was surrounded by military checkpoints, and everybody came to the training. So now I'm a bit intolerant. When people say, I couldn't go because of this and that, I always remember this group that in the middle of clearly what was a civil war, they decided to come to a training for their personal development, even though they had to cross military checkpoints. And they were smiling. We had a very nice dinner that evening. And I was like, at some point I was looking back and I was thinking, these guys are crazy. The country is clearly going for a very bad moment. But in a way, I understood that they were right. That might be the last opportunity that we had to have fun together. Why miss it? They couldn't do anything about the situation. Why miss that? So these kind of experiences gave me a lot in terms of my content and everything. So, and why not? Even in Mauritius, I had a very good experience, and I had the opportunity to stay with my good friend Senator Riyad at his place. So it was really, really nice because like I was saying to Riyad, I live a bit the life of a Mauritian. During those days, I went to the places where tourists don't know. I always like to say that I had my tea, my chai in Pakistan hotel, and I went to many, many places, and I had the opportunity to see the beautiful country that you have, and how remarkable it is, and how it is leading a whole continent from a small island. So these are the things that change my life in terms of how I work, how I interact with people, and it's still a journey. So I'm still going. That's why next week it will be Latvia to meet a lot of senators across Europe. So that's it.
Thank you so much for this wonderful answer, and these stories that you have are really, I think, not many people in the world can say that they've experienced something like that, and you've been able to, even though it was scary. Yeah. So thank you so much. I'd like to open the floor for questions from the other attendees. Does anyone have any questions for Senator Filipe?
Maybe I was so clear that there is no questions. No, but I normally say, like in weddings, take the opportunity to speak now. I think the expression is, and if not, hold your peace forever. So this is the opportunity.
Yeah, I think like we all I went to the training when you were in Mauritius, so most of the story we mostly knew about it because you talk about it. And for me, my question is that did you find yourself a bit lucky because sometimes like things were happening to you like it's very random and you're like, okay, most people don't get that chance, so like it's kind of a lucky situation if you want it to be. Have you seen yourself lucky in your JCI journey compared to other people who has been in JCI?
I think that luck has a role, but I think it has a small role because it is like having an entrepreneur mind or not having an entrepreneur mind. Okay, the entrepreneur looks around and sees possible businesses. A non-entrepreneur sees problems. So the way that also you see your career in strategic terms, suddenly you start to attract things. I normally say that I use a sentence that is, passion attracts money, money doesn't attract passion. Okay? What I mean with this is that if you are passionate about what you do, people tend to help you naturally because we love passionate people. We love to bet on the winning horse in a way. When we see that people have passion, we like to help because there is a possibility that that person will manage, and then you that help, you can show your social medal. That person managed to do so because I gave an advice, I loaned some money, I gave a contact, I did the bridge, whatever. People like that. Everywhere in the world, people like that. Even when people say, oh, no, these people are very jealous. No, no, no. It happens. So you cannot have luck if you don't have passion, unless you are only playing the lottery, okay? And you might be with no passion putting the numbers, and then it is 100% luck. But in terms of career, being in JCI or outside JCI, if you don't have passion, you are at the mercy of others. Others will define your future. So it is very important that from the beginning, you understand that you are the master of your destiny. So if you understand who you are and what you want to become, suddenly magical things start happening, not because of law of attraction or something like that. No, because you have that passion. And you have it, you probably know people that are passionate about a subject, not fanatic, passionate about it, and you like to hear about them, you like to help them because they are passionate. And you don't like to help people that, I can do this or that, or I don't know. Normally, we don't like to help those type of people. That is my view. I'm sorry to repeat some of the stories, but the questions were close to that. So I think those are stories that, especially, I think the only one that I repeated was the Syrian story, because for me, it is very impactful in terms of my work.
Thank you. Don't need to be sorry.
More questions?
Yeah.
That it's your, you are the MC, so you decide.
I think we don't have any other questions. You've pretty much covered everything. Everyone, each answer, like, it gives us a clear picture of what one can go through, can learn, can achieve through JCI. So I won't hold you any longer. Before we end the session, we have a small token of appreciation for you. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, I'll send it to you by email by tomorrow. I would like everyone to turn on their camera if you can before we go, so we can take a group picture. Okay, I'm posting the link for feedback form in the chat. I'd appreciate if everyone could fill the form so we can know what you liked about the session, what you enjoyed, what we can do better. So yeah, please fill the feedback form. And Senator Filipe, thank you so much for your presence today. What you have shared with us is truly valuable, and thanks for recording the session as well, so we can have our other members benefit from it.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. I hope you come to Mauritius again, and I hope you've enjoyed the time that you are here.
There is a crazy plan of me returning next year in January.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
We'll be here. We'll be there hopefully to welcome you.
It will be a pleasure.